So you say. Oh, well, we might be live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Porterweight Podcast, live right here in Dallas at the Ugas Spence Jr. Final Press Conference. Real quick, this is what I wanted to do, and then we'll get back to the show and everything. Right here is my guy, Brian Lonin.
Yes, sir.
Walked up to me yesterday and said, and you introduced me, and we introduced ourselves and all that kind of stuff. We got pictures, all that good stuff.
Yes, sir.
And you said, oh, yeah, our chef over there at the stadium.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I said, all right, yeah, whatever. Because a lot of times people say things that they just not who they say they are. And I'm over here chilling. And you come over and you say, you say, hey, it's me. Remember me from yesterday? I'm looking at you. He said, remember I told you I'm a chef here. I said, is that you? I had to see the braids just to make sure that it was you.
Right.
It's a pleasure to see you here, big dog.
Yes, sir.
I not to say that you are not who you say you were, but I was pleasantly surprised when I saw you walk up again and reintroduce yourself. It's a pleasure to see you here doing right here in the midst of what you do, doing your job. I said, yo, bring me a plate. And let me make sure that I get you on my podcast real quick before you get back to work. Is why I opened up with him, because he's got to get back to work. But thank you for the plate, big dog. And I want you to introduce yourself one more time, sir, and your business and all that good stuff.
Okay, I'm Brian Lonin. I'm a lead chef here at AT&T Stadium.
Lead chef.
I've been here 8
Black
seasons, and it's just one of my passions. Boxing is my first love, and so hospitality is my second.
Yeah. Very hospitable yesterday when I met you.
Thank you so much.
So thank you for that.
Yes.
You work here at the Cowboy Stadium,
Yes,
AT&T
sir.
Stadium.
Yes, sir.
So you work every
Every
game. Every event.
Yeah. We do a lot of catering as well.
And then do you have your own business outside of?
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty much tied up in here.
Awesome. It's a great situation for you to
Yes,
be in.
sir.
Well, again, thank you for coming over, reintroducing
Thank you for
yourself.
having me.
Thank you for the food. I'm gonna munch on it.
Right.
I know it's gonna be good, so I ain't gonna have to trash you for that.
Right.
I appreciate you, Brian.
All right. Thank you much.
Get back to work, big dog.
All right.
Catch you
appreciate
later,
it.
all right? Thank you. As y'all know, man, I love meeting fans. I love meeting any and everybody I come in contact with. And having the opportunity to come in contact with him yesterday, like I said, it was cool because he was very hospitable. And then before he left, he said, "Yeah, I'm working over there at the Cowboy Stadium." I said, "All right, yeah, whatever." And then he comes up again. I said, "You got to bring me a plate, but bring me the things that you cooked yourself, so that I can shout you out on my podcast." And he said, "Man, I got to get back to work." I said, "Please stay just for a second. I want to introduce you to the podcast. If you are down here at Dallas, you're attending the AT&T Stadium, please try to find Brian London. He's got great food, and he will hook you up." With that being said, this is what I want to do. A little bit more structure today. We didn't have the structure yesterday that I would hoped that we would have. It's still saying that it's still showing this right here, just so you know, on my end. Do I need to refresh? But it does say we live. Oh, I ain't click on it. I got to click on it. So anyway, a little bit more structure than we had yesterday. Today, we're going to allow the press conference to play itself out. Prior to that, I'm definitely going to shout out a few of the friends and people that have made this possible for the Porterweight Podcast to be here. And then as the press conference goes, I'll quiet down and I'll probably answer to comments during the presser. But for the most part, I'm going to let that show be the show. And then we'll come back to me once that's done. With that being said, Kelly Swanson was the one that just got on the microphone. Swanson's Communications is her business. They're the ones that communicated with me beginning to end to get the Porterweight Podcast down here. So I want to salute Kelly. I want to salute Tracy, Andrew, and the rest of the guys over there with Swanson Communications. Have done a fantastic job rolling out the red carpet for the Porterweight Podcast. Looks like they're about to get going. Wish I could have got on here a little sooner, but it is what it is. It's our first time going live remotely, so we're doing the best we can so that there's no hiccups. And if y'all been paying attention to the to the Twitter and all that kind of stuff, the Instagram and all that, My producer said yesterday, "Oh, we need some walkie-talkies so that we can communicate better." I mean, you don't need no walkie-talkies. Yell like you did yesterday. My dude went out and got some walkie-talkies today. They ain't used them one time. They used them at the hotel. Ain't used them one time since we've been here. So as they start going and the production is going, definitely want to salute my producer and assistant DDA, as well as Mackley. Those guys they did a great job yesterday, and they're gonna keep it going with us the rest of the week. There goes Brian Custer.
Taking dessert for later.
I ain't mad at you. Yeah, I'm trying to. I get the bites in when the camera ain't on me. Marcus Watson, shout out to the Watson family, Sam, Brandon, who I've not seen yet, and of course Marcus. Those guys, beginning to end, when I got with PBC, were nothing less than excellent, fantastic, wonderful people. First off, and secondly, from a business standpoint, great to work with. I know that everybody that gets involved with PBC, they're happy to have Watsons in their corners. And our man Ugas is up there. Camera on me. I want to bite. I want to take a bite. I want to take a bite. Light, okay. Light skin business. Salute to you, sir. Brian Henning, what's up, my man? Thomas John, I appreciate you. He says you the man. I appreciate that. Boxing fans, salute. That's what's up.
Well, hello, everybody. Certainly want to welcome you to North Texas, Arlington, AT&T Stadium.
Salute to
You know,
Vanessa
they do
and
things big here in
Hunter.
Texas.
Salute to y'all.
And that's why we had to bring one of the biggest, most significant fights here to the home of the Dallas Cowboys. Because on Saturday, April 16th, Showtime pay-per-view, the winner of the main event walks away as the unified champion in the welterweight division. This will be just the 12th unification fight in the welterweight division. And the winner is just one belt away from becoming the undisputed and the first undisputed welterweight champion of the world in this four-belt era. I'm Brian Custer, the host of Showtime Championship Boxing. And from my understanding, April 16th, from what I've heard, is also Errol Spence Day in the city of Dallas.
Nice.
Proclaimed by the mayor.
Nice.
Well, that evening, the WBC, the IBF world champion, the Truth, Errol Spence Jr. will take on the WBA world champion, Yordenis Ugas, and they will headline what will be an explosive night of boxing on Showtime pay-per-view. Also, we have another explosive night on Showtime Championship Boxing, all of it here from AT&T Stadium, brought to you by Premier Boxing Champions. Now, the pay-per-view broadcast, it kicks off at 9 p.m. Eastern. That is 6 o'clock Pacific time. It's a four-fight featuring not only the main event, but you'll also see the lightweight contender, Isaac Pitbull Cruz. He's going to be taking on the former world champion, Yuriorkis Gamboa. It's a 10-round co-main event. The lineup also includes the unbeaten Jose Valenzuela. He's battling the former world champion, Francisco El Bandito Vargas. And, of course, we'll start the night off with Cody Crawley. He's unbeaten, taking on the Riverside Rocky, Josecito Lopez. That's a welterweight fight. That kicks off the pay-per-view broadcast. But we also want you to tune in to Showtime Championship Boxing before that, because that night will begin on Showtime at 7 p.m. Eastern and 4 o'clock Pacific time. and you'll see the welterweight title holder Rajab Butayev taking on the top contender Ismantas Stanionis. Those two will fight it out. Of course, they've got their eyes on eventually facing the winner of this pay-per-view main event. And that broadcast will begin with the unbeaten Brandon Lee taking on Zachary Ochoa. By the way, Brandon Lee, the 2021 Ring Magazine Prospect of the Year, looking to extend that knockout streak that he has of 16. That starts on Showtime pay-per-view or Showtime Championship Boxing at 7 o'clock Eastern. All of these fights are being promoted by promoter extraordinaire Tom Brown and TGB Promotions, and of course, Man Down Promotions, which is affiliated with Errol Spence Jr. I know what you're wondering. How do I get the broadcast? How do I get the pay-per-view? Well, that 4-fight card is available. It is live. It will be streaming here in the U.S., and you can get it at showtime.com/PPV. It is available through the Showtime app, or you can just call your local cable or satellite provider and order the fight through them. For those of you who want to be in the house, and you certainly want to be here at AT&T Stadium to see this fight live, you can get tickets. You can get them and purchase them through SeatGeek.com. SeatGeek.com. It is the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium. Now, let me bring here to the podium the man who helped make all of this happen. He's the president of sports and event programming for the Showtime Networks, Stephen Espinoza.
Thank you, Brian. The welterweight division has long been one of boxing's most glamorous, most interesting, most popular divisions. A place where fighters like Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Oscar De La Hoya, and Floyd Mayweather have ruled. And this Saturday represents a significant step to figuring out who is the best 147-pound fighter in the sport today. 3 world titles at stake, and a 3 world title unification fits perfectly in what Showtime is doing in 2022, and that's putting the best against the best in the most competitive matchups. This past weekend, we had a thrilling fight of the year contender with Sebastian Fendora and Erickson Lubin. Still has people talking about it. And that's what happens when you put 2 elite fighters in the ring against each other. You get that kind of action, that kind of competition, and that's exactly what we're gonna see on Saturday night. As Brian said, we've got a full day of boxing. We're doing something that we've never done before, and that's have a full championship boxing card leading into the pay-per-view. 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. local, on Showtime, the 2-fight card, opening up with Brandon Lee, and then Stanionis and Butayev. There's no other network, no other platform in the sport that is doing quality of fights this good 6 fights down the card. 5 fights down the card, we have Stanionis and Butayev, which is an eliminator fight. This is quality top to bottom, starting at 6 p.m. local for the 2-fight card on Showtime, all the way through the pay-per-view. And of course, if you don't have Showtime, we're gonna make it really easy to watch that pre-show with a free trial, 30-day free trial, followed by $3.99 for 4 months. Or make it real simple. You can watch it on YouTube. And then the pay-per-view, one of the strongest cards of the year. One of the disadvantages of having such a great fight in the main event is sometimes people overlook the undercard. And in the co-feature, we have a really exciting young fighter, Isaac Cruz, coming off giving Tank Davis the toughest fight of his career. He is establishing himself as a force to be reckoned with and trying to position himself for another shot, potentially at Gervonta Davis in the future. There's a weigh-in show tomorrow, 11 a.m. local time. We'll be streaming on YouTube. We'll be doing the weigh-in live with Luke Thomas, Brian Campbell, Raul Marquez, and NBA world champion Steven Jackson, who's also Showtime talent, will be joining that as well. But we know what we're all here for. It's a great card, a huge day of boxing. but we're here for Spence and Ugas, two former Olympians, two of the best in the division, two outstanding family men, two guys who are a credit to their sport. You've seen them on All Access, both episodes. We thank both of them in their camps for letting us in and allowing us to portray who they are outside the ring. We couldn't be prouder to be associated with this event. Two fine young men, two great sportsmen, two elite boxers, one iconic venue with 3 world titles at stake. It's an event not to be missed. We'll see you Saturday night.
Thank you, Stephen. You hit it right on the head. Champion versus champion. Two guys hungry. Two men daring to be great. And in the end, we find out who is indeed the big fish of the welterweight division. Errol Spence Jr. taking on your Dennis Ugas. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the men who worked them out, put together the game plan, who trained them, and they're two of the best in the business. For your Dennis Ugas, a man who has trained 20 world champions, Ismael Salas. Welcome, sir. For Errol Spence Jr., this man is one of the best trainers in boxing, former Ring Magazine, former trainer of the year, Dallas's own Derek James. Let me introduce the champions. And I'll start with the WBA champion. 27-4. He's got 12 knockouts. He is the WBA welterweight champion of the world, your Dennis Ugas.
Bueno, gracias a todos los que están aquí. Ante todo, como ustedes saben siempre, quién soy yo, que no soy solamente un peleador, soy un peleador adentro, un peleador afuera, en donde quiera que me paro, siempre quiero pedir libertad para todos los presos políticos de mi país y el fin de la dictadura, y ese mensaje siempre es la lucha más grande que tengo en mi vida.
Well, thank you so much to everyone who's here, everyone who's watching on the live stream. And you know who I am by now. You know that I'm not just a fighter inside the ring, but also outside of it. And I want to advocate once again for the freedom of all the political prisoners in Cuba, as well as for the end of the dictatorship in my country.
También quiero darle las gracias a los latinos, especialmente a mi comunidad. Todos los cubanos están viendo esta pelea y muchos no han visto nunca una pelea de boxeo. La están viendo por mi mensaje, por la libertad que yo siempre tengo.
And I also want to thank all the Latin fans out there that are going to watch this fight, especially, my Cuban countrymen. I love you guys, and I want you guys to know that I always carry that message forward of freedom and happiness for my country.
Hablando de boxeo, estoy orgulloso de estar en esta pelea. Solamente respeto para Spence, para su equipo. Como he dicho, esto es 2 de los mejores entrenadores del mundo, 2 de los 3 mejores pesos welter del mundo.
And, just boxing-wise, I want to say that I'm so excited for this fight. Nothing but respect for Spence. He's a great fighter. And this is not only going to be a clash between us, but also between 2 of the greatest trainers in the world. So you're not going to want to miss that either.
Gracias a todos los fans que van a venir aquí al estadio de Dallas. Spence prometió un knockout. Yo estoy prometiendo una gran victoria. Go, baby!
Well, so you're not going to want to miss this fight. You're going to want to come out. You're going to want to tune in. Spence promised a knockout. I promise a win. Don't miss it.
Gracias a todos.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Martin Bertier, of course, giving us the translation. Now let me bring to the podium the unified welterweight champion of the world. He's known as the Truth. 27-0. 21 men have not made it to the final bell. That means 21 knockouts. He is the WBC, the IBF, welterweight champion of the world. He calls himself the big fish, Errol Spence Jr.
How everybody doing? I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. It's gonna be action-packed come Saturday night. I'm looking to put on a great show and a great performance in front of my hometown. I know Ugas coming to fight. I know his coach. He got a so-called great game plan. But on Saturday now, I'm putting on a great show and another great performance. I'm looking forward to becoming another champion, adding the WBA to my title. So I have 3 belts. That means 1 more. So everybody make sure they tune in on Showtime pay-per-view. Make sure you order. Or if you're in Dallas or you're even in Texas, come out to the AT&T Stadium. It's on the grandest stage in Texas. And like I said before, you not want to miss this. Come Saturday night.
Well said, champ. Like the champ, I used to live here in Dallas. So y'all stop texting me. I'm not giving out any tickets. Got to order it, Showtime pay-per-view, or make sure you get your tickets through SeatGeek.com. All right, let's talk about the fight. Champ. We'll start with the unified champ here. And Errol, it's one thing, though, to have a big fight. It's another thing to have it at home. Certainly brings some kind of pressure because you want to show off for the home folk. What does this one bring to you to be here in Dallas, Cowboy Stadium, and as you point out, to have 3 belts on the line?
For me, it's no pressure. For me, it's an honor. It's an honor to be fighting at home, especially on one of the grandest stages at the AT&T Stadium. Most people from their hometown, most boxers from anywhere is not able to be fighting in their home at their football stadium. So this is great for me. It's a great opportunity for me, and I welcome the challenge. And like I said, there's no pressure.
Your dentist was watching All Access, and your trainer, Ismail, said, hey, look, he looked at the footage, and the Errol Spence that he saw against Shawn Porter was not the same guy who fought Danny Garcia. My question is, do you believe Errol Spence Jr. is still that same guy?
Bueno, Jordanis, Brian estaba viendo Showtime All Access, la gente también lo puede ver ahora los episodios por YouTube, y tu entrenador decía que Spence ya no es el mismo, que después del accidente y de lo que tuvo la lesión en el ojo, que él ya no era el mismo de antes. ¿Vos qué esperas de Spence? ¿Crees que está al 100%?
Bueno, pienso nosotros trabajamos en el campamento para un Spence 100%. Mi entrenador y yo hemos conversado. Él tiene una opinión. Él es el líder de mi entrenamiento. Él es el que sabe. Aún así, como digo, trabajamos en el campamento para un Spence 100%.
Ismail is wise. I have a wise trainer, somebody that has seen more boxing than most. But, you know, we have different opinions, and I think that Spence is going to be 100%. I prepared for the best Spence possible. That's been my mindset throughout.
Errol, I'll ask you the same question.
It's a good answer by your dentist. He's saying he's prepared for the best Errol Spence that's going to be in the ring. While none of us feel like that was the same Spence that fought me fighting Garcia. He did what he needed to do, and I don't think it was as much required to fight me as it was to fight Garcia.
Or Danny Garcia.
Your dentist,
And I hate hearing my name so
Errol,
much.
has maintained
Turn me down.
he's the big fish of the welterweight division. If he's the big fish, what is your dentist, Ugas?
Bueno, acá Errol Spence se cree que es lo más grande del peso welter. Entonces, si él es el más grande de la división, ¿qué sería Jordanis Ugas? Si él es el pez gordo del lugar, ¿qué es Jordanis?
Bueno, pienso que mucha gente conoce mi historia. Regresé de 15-3, regresé en 2016 y en los últimos años he sido uno de los mejores peleadores del deporte. Sí, si él es quien dice ser, yo soy uno de los mejores peleadores del deporte en los últimos años.
You know my story. I came back from being 15-3 back in 2016, and ever since then, I have established myself as part of the elite in this division. If he's the big fish, I belong in that same tank not far behind, because I'm willing to swim with the big fishes, wherever.
He sido un peleador comprometido, un campeón dentro y fuera estos años.
Spence was. Well, I've been a compromised fighter, somebody that has been willing to do whatever it takes throughout the years to be where I am right now.
Any response?
Well, he better than me because I would have said I'm going to fillet his ass, but, you know, we different.
Errol, we know how you fight. I know this man loves to mix it up. If this fight comes out and both of you guys are as aggressive as a number of people believe, do you think this fight goes the distance?
It might not. Like Ugas, he's a tough fighter. He's a guy that's he embraces the fight. He embraces the want to go toe to toe. You know, if he has to, he do anything to win. I'm that type of guy. I'm the guy that if I have to go toe to toe, I will. If I got to stand there and fight, I will. So I think, you know, if we get in the clinch and we start fighting, then I don't think it's going to go 12 rounds.
Your Dennis, we'll wrap it up with this. For all the people who'll be coming out here to Cowboy Stadium, buying this pay-per-view, you tell us why. Tell us why we need to watch your Dennis Ugas and Errol Spence Jr. get it on Saturday.
Para los miles que van a venir aquí al Estadio de los Cowboys, los todavía más fanáticos que van a comprar el pay-per-view, ¿qué le podemos prometer que va a hacer Yordenis Ugas? ¿Qué podemos esperar de Yordenis Ugas este sábado por la noche?
Bueno, como he dicho, un peleador comprometido, con una gran historia, representando a todo un país, representando todo un mensaje, una nación, y como le he dicho que tengo para la gente que me apoya y para mis fans es sangre, sudor, esfuerzo y lágrimas, sábado en la noche.
I promise you blood, sweat, everything that I have to give for my country, for my fans, for everyone that's watching the pay-per-view. You're not going to be disappointed. We're going to put on a great show, and you're going to see the same Ugas that has put his heart and soul into boxing throughout the past couple of years into this fight that means everything to me.
Errol, Ugas says he's fighting for his country. He's hungry. What about Errol Spence Jr.? Tell us about your motivation that drives you for this fight.
I feel like everybody know my motivation. I'm fighting for my family, my close friends. I'm fighting for my city, the state of Texas. I'm put on a great show and another great performance. It's my drive. I want to be the unified champion of the world. I want to hold 3 belts. I want to become the future undisputed welterweight champion of the world, the first to ever do it. So I have to finish on come Saturday night, and I'm put on another great show. Hope everybody come out, order on Showtime pay-per-view. I promise you don't want to miss this fight.
Folks, it is the main event of Showtime pay-per-view. I know there are members of the media here, a number of you who've got questions. We're going to allow you guys to ask some questions. We just ask that you identify yourself. We have the microphones here, front and center.
Hey, man, Cameron Buford, Voice of the Fans. Congratulations on both of your this opportunity for both of you guys. Errol Spence, I want to ask you a question. You mentioned that you're a better fighter than the fighter who fought Danny Garcia and Shawn Porter. In what ways are you a better fighter? To Ugas, your challenge of getting here, talk about how that challenge of getting here to where you are today plays into your preparation for this fight. And thank you guys both.
Who you want to answer first?
You can answer.
Oh, I bet. I feel like I'm a better fighter with Danny Garcia fight because, you know, I came off a car accident, you know, and I flew 40 feet in there and landed on concrete. So, of course, with time, I'm going to become a better fighter than a Danny Garcia fight. I mean, my body was still kind of banged up, and I still the fight, won the fight. So I feel like I'm just a better fighter overall. I've been in the gym a lot longer and just been training harder and just been more focused than ever.
Errol, champ side right here. The mayor declared, oh, I'm sorry.
No, yeah, sorry. Could you please repeat the question about the challenges so I can ask it again?
My question was the challenges that he's endured in his lifetime. How does he lean on that, and how will he lean on that come Saturday for the fight?
todos los desafíos, todas las cosas a las que te has tenido que sobreponer, no solo en los últimos años, sino que en tu vida, ¿cómo te motivan de cara a una pelea como la del sábado? ¿O es que ya están en el pasado y no las tenés en cuenta para esta pelea?
Bueno, ante todo, como siempre digo, soy un guerrero, un competidor, ganando campeonatos de los 6, de los 7 años, listo para noche como el sábado. He formado mi carácter a través de los años con todas las adversidades y esto es una noche más, una gran noche más, gracias a Dios.
I'm a warrior, I'm a competitor. I've been facing adversity ever since I was 6, 7 years old. I've been fighting since I was a little kid. This is nothing new to me. And Saturday night, it's going to be a great night, but no different than any other fight or any other night that I had to overcome throughout my boxing career.
My question is for Errol Champ side. The Mayor of Dallas declared Saturday, April 16th, as Errol Spence Jr. Day. Have you envisioned how you will spend those days to come, and are you aware that April 15th, 1947, Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier? So your day will always be the day after Jackie Robinson.
No, I ain't know that. Thanks for telling me. But, you know, I haven't thought about it, how I'm going to spend after the fight or anything, or even the week leading up. It's been total focus on April 16th and me winning this fight. I feel like that's the only thing that matters to me. And, you know, I'm grateful to have that being my day. But the main goal, the main objective is the win come Saturday night.
Mi pregunta es para Ismael Sala, Willy Suárez, boxeo cubano. Ismael, esta es una de las pocas peleas en los últimos años que Yordenis tiene un campo de entrenamiento completo para prepararse para un combate como este. ¿Marcó eso la diferencia en el campo de entrenamiento?
The question is whether, you know, Yordenis, this is the first time in a long time where Yordenis has had a training camp that has been able to be completed from start to finish with no real last-minute calls or difficulties. Ismael, do you feel that this is the best training camp that Yordenis has had?
Por supuesto, hemos realizado varios campos de entrenamiento con diferentes situaciones, diferentes oponentes. Esto es un campo más, es un día más en la oficina. Por supuesto, es una pelea donde vamos por los 3 títulos, la unificación, es la pelea más grande que creo que se va a dar ahora en 147 libras. Y bueno, hemos hecho todos los planes necesarios.
I just want to point out that production work right there that my
outstanding. We
producer
have
just
been
pulled
able
off.
to
That was
prepare
smooth.
the best way for what's going to be a huge fight, the biggest fight in the 147-pound division, unifying 3 belts. But we feel that the preparation that we have had with no real adversity whatsoever has been really, really great.
Keith Thurman from BoxingScene.com. My question is for Ugas. Yordenis, can you put into perspective how far you've come since where you were in 2015 out of boxing, coming off back-to-back losses, and now in an enormous event like this?
¿Podrías poner en perspectiva lo que significa para vos el estar aquí ahora, 7 años después de que casi tirás la toalla en el boxeo? ¿Cómo se siente eso comparado a donde estabas hace 7 años?
Sí, bien orgulloso, cumpliendo mis sueños, que es pelear contra lo mejor de mi deporte y sobre todo dando un ejemplo a los peleadores jóvenes que no importa las cosas que pasen, con trabajo duro, dedicación, todo es posible. Tuve 2 años y medio fuera del deporte y hoy estoy aquí en la cima en una de las peleas más grandes del deporte.
I'm so happy. This is a dream come true. And I believe that I'm not only setting an inspiration for everybody here, I'm setting an example for young fighters everywhere to know that with hard work and dedication, you should never give up because dreams do come true and you can get to the top where even if people tell you that you're not going to get to the top, you can do it if you believe in yourself with enough hard work and dedication.
Errol, Mac Engel, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. In light of the injury that you sustained, that kind of a freak injury you sustained the last time, did you train any differently for this fight just to make sure that nothing happened that would guarantee that you'd actually get to fight this time?
No. Actually, the eye that got injured is a lot stronger than my other eye now because they put 2 straps on it, so it's like super secure. and nothing won't happen to him unless he get shot out or something. But I shouldn't say that. But nah, we didn't do anything different.
Errol, César Seda, decisión dividida. Hey, 21 knockouts. The last 3, you haven't been able to knock out them. Do you feel you need a statement knockout moving forward after this?
I feel like I don't need a knockout. I feel like fighters that go look for knockouts, that's how they end up looking bad or end up losing the fight. Because I've seen a lot of fighters, even after they get a knockdown, and then now they're just looking for the knockout, and then they don't get the knockout, and they end up either losing the fight or not looking good. So for me, if the knockout come, I'm definitely going to take it. Well, if it don't come, I'm good with the victory too.
And if I could add a comment there, I don't think, and you certainly don't need me defending Errol, but I think what's interesting is once you get to that top tier level where you're having the best fight the best, the differences are very, very small. You don't usually see what happened last week when you've got 2 of the best in the division and it ends in a knockout. When you've got 2 super elite fighters like these, 2 Olympians, 2 skilled fighters, this fight is going to turn on little things. I'm not looking for a knockout, not because neither of them have power, but because these are 2 of the best in the division. And the differences between the 2 of them are very, very small. Like, it's the little tiny things that will make a difference in who comes out ahead on Saturday night.
Errol, Jeff Kolb with Fox 4 in Dallas. I'm curious what these days leading up to a fight typically feel like for you. Would you get nerves earlier in your career? And if so, do you still get nerves?
Yeah, I definitely got nervous early in my career, especially when I first started. But now it's just this week we're just tapering off, leading up to it. Not training as hard, but still maintaining our peak level and staying focused, going over game plan with my coach, and making sure that I'm on a point 100%.
Hello, this is. Oh, go ahead. Okay. Hello, this is Salvador Rodriguez from ESPN Knockout. It should be a great fight. Both are quality champions. Do you feel that the winner this Saturday needs to be closer to be the undisputed? I mean, Crawford should be the next for the winner this Saturday. For both, please.
Go ahead, Errol.
Say it again. What'd you say?
Do you
I heard you say something about.
Do you believe that the
closer
next
to
step
Crawford
for the winner will be needs to be Terence Crawford for be the undisputed?
Definitely. I feel like that's the only fight that's supposed to happen. I mean, he's the only one that has the belt, unless you're gonna fight a title eliminator against somebody. So, I mean, that's the only person to fight to become undisputed champion of the world.
Bueno, la pregunta de Chava era sobre si crees que el ganador de esta pelea con 3 cinturones tendría que pelear contra Terence Crawford. Errol dice que es lo único que quedaría. ¿Vos qué pensás?
Sí, pienso igual. El ganador que continúe para pelear con el indiscutido, para los 4 cinturones contra Crawford. Esa siempre fue la idea mía. Pero bueno, yo pienso, esa pregunta es más para Spence, que le han hecho por muchos años. Yo estoy concentrado en mi pelea contra él el sábado.
I agree with Errol. The winner of this fight should go for the Undisputed Championship. It just makes too much sense. Having said that, I'm focused on this fight on Saturday. There is no skipping steps. In order to get to where you want to go, you have to first take care of Saturday night, and then whatever happens next, it's not up to me really.
Champ Earl, Rick Muhammad, Brawler Sports Media. How is it this fight? Both of you guys are southpaws. Do you prefer fighting southpaws, or it doesn't matter? Is it more tailor-made for you?
You talking to me?
No.
How about southpaw?
He's right-handed.
I'm right-handed.
Ugas is right-handed.
I thought he was southpaw.
No, he's right-handed.
You tripping, bro?
I thought I saw him switch up.
Nah, I don't switch, man. That's Terrence.
Good afternoon, Valencia King with Real Talk Sports. My question is for you, Earl. During the introduction, they talked about the importance of knowing who you are outside of the ring. For young athletes coming behind you, what advice would you give them to have an identity outside of their sport?
I would tell them just to stay focused, because a lot of times, especially that's why I feel like in high school they give you classes where they talk about peer pressure and friends and outside influences and other stuff like that, because a lot of time your friends don't have the same dreams that you have, or people from the outside don't have the same dreams you have. So I would tell them, just believe in yourself. If you have a dream, nurture your dream, take care of your dream, and grind it to keep your dream alive, because other people don't have your same interests, or they don't have the same stuff that you want. So make sure that whatever dream you have, just focus on yourself and focus on your dream and strive for it, and you'll be anything you want to be.
Last one.
Mac Engel again. Derek, this is for you. In your opinion, Errol looks pretty comfortable at the weight he's at right now. How much bigger do you think he could go and still be as effective as he is right now at this particular weight? Much more, or is this about it?
Well, I think he can go up to wherever he wants to go. I think he's very comfortable. We spar heavyweights on a consistent basis. That's one of the guys we spar with. We spar heavyweights all the time. So I think that he's very physical as a fighter, and he can fight at the weight. He can fight up to 160 or maybe even higher. I'm not saying that's what we're going to do. I'm just saying that's what he'd probably be comfortable at that, because we're comfortable with being in the ring with bigger guys all the time.
Wait, one more.
Hey, Errol, Clarence Hill with Forward Star Telegram. You fought a few times here. How comfortable are you fighting at A&T Stadium? And I think you've won more titles than the Cowboys have won here. Can you anything you can do to is this your house now? And anything you can do to rub off on the Cowboys?
Chill out now. But yeah, this is my house. This is my hometown. Love the Cowboys to death. Love the AT&T Stadium. I appreciate them giving me the hospitality and making this my home. And come Saturday night, I'm gonna win another championship for the Dallas Cowboys. So let's do it.
Folks, there you have it. Champion versus champion. Daring to be great. You hear them both say their ultimate goal is to be the undisputed welterweight champion of the world. It would be the first in this four-belt era. It all comes your way Saturday, Showtime, pay-per-view, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. That is 6 o'clock Pacific Time. And then the night starts even before that on Showtime Championship Boxing at 7 o'clock Eastern. That is 4 o'clock Pacific Time with 2 fights there. Do not miss it, as you have champion versus champion in the main event. Want to thank everybody for coming out. Let's get a face-off.
Muy bien. Bucareo, por favor, Jordanis.
Well, there you have it. Relatively nice and easy. Of course, that's how it goes with Errol Spence. My guy back home. What's it? Why am I missing his name? Shoot. Let me get his name. Oh man. I'm tripping. Bray, Boom Boom. Boom Boom used to call him
Here we
cool
go.
water.
The WBA
he used to call
taking
he
on
used to
the
call
unified
Spence cool
champion,
water.
the WBC.
He said he just cool.
IBF
All
champion.
the time he's cool. That's
Just
what we
the
got.
12th
Then of course
unification
Ugas.
fight here in the welterweight
Seemed as
division
fired up
going
as
down
I thought he would.
on Showtime pay-per-view. The Truth, Errol Spence Jr. taking on your Dennis Ugas for 3 belts in the welterweight division.
I'm gonna answer to the last comment that I was answering to on the Twitter, or excuse me, on the live. It was from T Word. He said, I think it was from T Word. Let me not get that wrong. Somebody will shoot me. find it real quick.
Ishmael Salas, Derek James, the
Pretty sure that
trainers
was-
of both
oh,
fighters.
no, it was, excuse me. Yep, that was Amir. He said these young guys ain't worth the $75. If you're a boxing fan, if you love a great night of fights, you got great fights on Showtime, and then you got great fights on Showtime pay-per-view.
9 p.m. Eastern,
I don't get paid
6
to
p.m.
sell this
Pacific
fight.
time.
I'm not even getting paid to be here.
Here in Texas.
I'm just here to do this for the podcast. I'm here because I love to do it, and I get the opportunity. What's up, Brad? How you doing? You want to get on my podcast real quick? Yeah, come on. No? You want to come say hi? You want to come say hi? Yeah. Okay. I was talking to Spence mom. Yeah. Yep. I was just talking to Spence mom. She was standing there and she waved at me. I asked her if she wanted to get on the podcast and say hi. She said, "No, not me. That's what's up. I see his dad too. That's what's up. I don't know if Spence and or Ugas are gonna come over, but I'm pretty sure Swanson Communications wanted to have them both come over here and get on the podcast for a second. So if y'all got any questions for them, I'll do the best I can to try to figure out, get some questions from y'all to them. I know that y'all would love that. Alex Chavez, shout out from Yuma, Arizona. Salute to you, sir. I saw the shout out earlier. My bad, I didn't get to it. Vin Mack said this, and this one for you, DDA. He said 720p. Really, Sean? No HD. It's 2022. I know what year it is. Is that we got some problems here? All right. Hey, yeah. Just chill out, Vin. All right. It's 2022. We just bought all this equipment. All right. I don't think we bought the wrong things. We buy nice, not twice. So, okay, yeah. And we not working on the hotspot. We on the hotspot. So, anything y'all lacking or anything like that, it's just a hotspot. We'll fix it as it comes as we can. We stopped at a couple of AT&T stores in Vegas, and then when we got here as well, trust me, we working hard to put this together for y'all the best way we can for the Porterweight podcast. So anything that's lacking, the next time we go live, it will be more improved than what you have right now. Real quick, while I got a second, I'm gonna get my guy on here while I got a second. Until they bring us Ugas and or Spence. But right now, definitely introduce yourself. But we got Andy here. Go ahead, introduce yourself, sir.
What's going on, man? Andy Albert here, SportsCon, Dallas, Texas, based.
Hold on, say it again. Turn him up. Go ahead, do it again.
Andy Albert here, friends with Shawn, but we've known each other for a while through SportsCon and a couple other people as well.
Yeah.
So it's good to be out here.
Yeah, you out here doing the SportsCon down here in Dallas, Texas. How many years you into that?
We've been in about 5 years now, and we're about to announce Las Vegas on a 5-year partnership deal.
Nice.
At a pretty big hotel on the Strip, so that's going to kind of grow it as well throughout not just the state of Texas, but the entire nation.
I came down here for the SportsCon. I think that was 2018.
It was the year. It was 2019.
It was before I fought. I thought it was the year before I fought him.
No, it was that year because we.
But it was before I fought him, right?
No, it was that year.
It was the same year?
The same year because you ran into him at Papado's when he was supposed to be out of town.
Yeah, but I thought that was okay. I thought that was after or before we fought. So
it was before you fought.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It was in July. Yeah.
Yeah,
but it was that same year.
Okay. Oh, same year, but before we fought. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and you brought me down here. It was 2019, July of 2019. You doing it down here again this year?
Next July.
Next July.
Next July we'll do it down here.
Okay.
And every year during the Super Bowl we're going to do it in Las Vegas.
Okay. So nothing this year.
No, nothing this year.
Still kind of
COVID,
recovering from that
city,
COVID.
yeah.
It's called the SportsCon. It's mostly being here in Dallas is mostly Cowboys players. I had an opportunity to meet Ezekiel Elliott. I did not have an opportunity to meet Emmitt Smith. I remember, I'll never forget, he was walking by the ring that you had me set up in, and it was a bunch of people moving at one time, which caught my attention while I was doing my thing. And I was like, what's going on over there? And he kind of like bust through the crowd of people and went like this and gave me a wave and said, "What's up?" I said, "Oh my God, it's Emmitt Smith. I got to get out of the ring." They didn't let me get out of the ring. I told you that I wanted to meet him, and we didn't have an opportunity to put that together for me to shake his hand. But the likes of Emmitt Smith, the likes of course, Ezekiel Elliott, who else do you have or have had at the Sports Con?
We've had Patrick Mahomes. We've had, Michael Irvin a ton of times. Johnny Manziel.
Nice.
Pete Rose. A ton of basketball players.
Pete was down here when I was
the
here.
number one UFC fighter, Usman.
Yeah.
Nigerian Nightmare.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of different sports, and we're just kind of growing it kind of like a sports con, just basically like a Comic-Con, but for sports.
Yep. It's a little like my podcast. My podcast is boxing based, but I wanted to be more. Y'all be hating on me when I try to bring other things to the game. But the Sports Com is sports in general, but primarily it ends up being football.
Well, a lot of people don't know you played running back in high school.
Yeah.
In Cleveland.
Yeah.
Or right outside Cleveland.
Not at Ezekiel Elliott's level, but I did my thing the best way I could.
Would we be able to pull up any film at some point for one of these podcasts?
I've been working on getting film of me playing ball for years, and I have not been able to do that. The high schools, they haven't been giving me what I needed, but I actually was able to get a game one time, but I did well, but the team we were playing sucked. I was like, I'm not gonna broadcast this. You'd see I'm playing against these kids, you know what I mean? So, but even back then, I was a lot like Ezekiel. I know when Zeke played in high school, he was a man amongst men, or a man amongst boys, and I was a little bit the same. Where most of the guys that I played against, I was either faster than them, stronger than them, quicker than them, and I did really well on the football field, man. I loved it.
What about the basketball court?
I picked up a ball too late, man.
See, we have Zeke he's been playing on the church team for a couple of years. A bunch of these guys.
That's what's up.
Play on him.
That's what's up. I picked up a ball too late. For me, my life was football and boxing, and it was like when people wanted to play basketball, I was like, it's a football right there. Why are you trying to play basketball? And then slowly but surely, I found out that was a sport that everybody loves to play. And I played my freshman and sophomore year in high school, and after that, I let it go. I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time on the sidelines.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So then, what about the boxing game?
When
did you get into the boxing game?
Well, I've always been a boxing fan, old
Yeah.
school. Gosh, since Mike Tyson, Sugar Shane Mosley was one of my favorites. So it was good
Mine
to see
too.
his son play last. I
Yep.
mean, he
Fight,
does.
yeah.
He does have a little bit. His hands were so fast back in the day. I think it was just faster than anybody.
Yep.
To me, that's what really caught my eye with Sugar Shane.
Yep, me too.
And then just a lot of the other Bernard Hopkins, and I mean, there's so many good divisions. Heavyweight was not like it is now, but there was just so many good divisions of boxing, and I've always been an old school boxer. And I still can't make that transition in UFC. It's always
the boxers going to the UFC and vice versa, huh?
that or just watching UFC. I'm still.
You can't make the transition.
Yeah, I'm still going to choose boxing probably the rest of my life over a UFC fight.
I had an opportunity. Shout out to Mark Ratner and shout out to Dana White and everybody else, of course, over there at the UFC. I had an opportunity to go to their campus on Tuesday, and Mark Ratner gave me the tour, and being able to see that facility, I said, this is what boxing needs. Boxing needs a place where you can eat, you can train, you can recover, you can spend your time in the boxing world, and that's what they got going on over there at the UFC campus out there in Las Vegas. Anybody that gets a chance to go in there, train there, and all those kinds of things, it's like a heaven for a combat a combat athlete. It's got everything you need, so it was cool to be there. Just saying that to say, all of those guys over there, fans of mine, and I'm like, I was pleasantly surprised, but felt bad that I haven't made any transitions to the UFC or to the MMA world.
You're not ready to fight one of the Paul brothers yet?
I can't do that, man. I can't do that. That's not in the cards
if
for
they
me.
come calling with that 5 mil, 6, 7, 8, 10 mil check.
I doubt it. I help promote. That's about it. But yeah, no. Again, shout out your con, the sports con.
Appreciate it, man.
Yep, and you'll be in Vegas 2023.
Yep, 2023 Super Bowl.
Are you
weekend.
stopping? Are you stopping Dallas once you go to Vegas?
No,
or
it's going to be
you go-
Dallas and Vegas, and then we'll launch LA in 2024.
Very good, very
and then
good.
New York and Miami, and then so on. Try to get it to 8 cities a year.
Real quick, tell everybody what you do, because you're involved with a lot of athletes, not just the Cowboys, not just all of the football players, but you do outside of the NFL. You do, of course, we've done some work together. You've done some work for the podcast. Tell everybody what you do.
Well, I mean, besides being the #1 church basketball coach of the year, as I like to play around
Oh,
with.
just the coaching, huh?
Yeah.
You just coaching?
Yes.
You're not running up and down with the
I mean,
ponytail?
these are NBA guys. There's some guys
Oh,
like
yeah.
Charlie Villanueva, Devin Harris,
Oh, okay,
Zeke,
okay.
Rico, a lot of overseas guys. So these are Division I players.
Yeah.
That have all played Division I basketball.
So you where you need to be.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I own Creative Sports Con, which is the Comic-Con for sports, and that's fun. And then I also do a lot in the agencies where I get guys marketing deals, whether it's a commercial for Jason Witten or something for the podcast, or a truck deal or a shoe deal, things like that. So
Yeah.
it's sports marketing for athletes that started as just football and now has gone into multi-level sports, whether it's NBA guys, baseball guys I've worked with, boxers, UFC fighters, golfers now. So it's just kind of
Nice.
growing from there.
I forgot you hit me up. You were in Vegas and you were with Jason Witten. I was flying into town. Remember, you said, "Hey, where you at?" I said, "I just got home." He said, "I got Jason Witten. He wants to meet you. Come down." And I called my wife. I was like, "Yo, I'm going to meet Jason Witten." This was like, the pandemic's not over. You know what I mean? So like, it's masks everywhere. She says, "I don't know who that is, but make sure you wear a mask." And I wore a mask until it was time. Oh, she said, "Don't shake any hands." Until it was time.
I'll delete those photos.
Until it was time to meet that man, I kept the mask on and I kept my hands in my pockets. But and this is what I said. I said, "It was Jason Witten." I had to shake his hand. I said, "It was Jason Witten." I had to shake his hand. I had to say hello. We got great pictures. Shout out to the Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famer Jason Witten.
Yeah, he's coaching high school out here now. He's doing really good.
Nice. Anybody that wants to get in touch with you, they want to get some marketing going for themselves. If that's what you want to do, why don't you leave your information?
I mean, my Instagram is Andy Alberth, ANDYALBERTH. Same thing with Twitter, Facebook, or they can just go straight to the Go Sports Con. It'll get back to me some way or the other. It's Go Sports Con, GOSPORTSCON. So
Perfect.
That's the way.
Perfect. I think we're going to hit a hockey game tonight, huh?
Yeah, we got some glass seats for a hockey game. I haven't been to one in a long time, so I'm excited.
Let's get it.
Maybe some sushi.
I see Spence. I don't know if they're going to bring him over or not. See what happens.
You want me to go get him?
All right, go get him.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, man, you got it, man. Thanks
Sure.
for coming up.
Tell Ant not to miss this next time.
Yeah, Ant, you heard him. I'm sure he's watching. Sosa Smith. Sup, champ? Sup, Sosa? Thanks, Andy. I'm sure it's, I don't know if it's Rice or Royce Turner. Shawn, you like football better than boxing. I always have loved football more than boxing. I really, believe it or not, I started doing commentary for boxing or doing analytical work for boxing in 2018. Prior to 2018, I didn't watch very many fights. My dad and I, we would go to the fights, but if we weren't going to a fight, I didn't really watch the fights. I've never really been on watching the fights. Come on through whenever you're ready. Yep. I was never really into watching the fights until I started doing the work for Fox in 2018, and it was like, you got to study, you got to get ready, and after that, and now of course with the podcast, it's boxing every week, and that's never been my life up until just in the last couple of years. What's good? How you feeling? Good to see you, man. What's up with it? Stolen Bike Productions. So what age did Porter start boxing? Well, Porter started boxing when he was 4 years old. Here's the long story short. When I was born, I lived with my mom. I didn't live with my dad, and we would go see my dad on the weekends. My mom would drive us to the boxing gym. We meet my dad at the boxing gym, and that's where I started boxing at 4 years old. I don't know why, but my dad got mad because my mom would always she would feed us before she dropped us off. Feeding us usually meant Taco Bell or McDonald's before dropping us off at the gym. And a lot of times we would just wait till we got to the gym to eat. And that bugged my dad. My dad was like, you can't come to the gym and eat anymore. And rule number 2 is no sitting down at the gym. So when I was 4 years old, almost 5, is when I started getting in the mirror, going through the fundamentals of boxing. I pretty much have boxed my entire life. That once he started us with the fundamentals, when I was 4 going on 5, this was like the summertime before I turned 5. I turned 5 in October, for anybody that doesn't know. I started doing it then, fundamentals in boxing, and 5, 6, 7. I'll never forget, I think I was 8 years old. My dad bought us all, my brother and I, he bought us boxing equipment for Christmas. Gloves, boxing boots, hand wraps, tank top and shorts to match. And lo and behold, that was the gear that he had bought for us to start competing in. So I'll never forget. He took us one day. We went down to the Cleveland Lake Erie Association office, and we got our license to box. I was 8. My brother was 9 years old. Has always been my life. People think that I was a football player first, because a lot of football players then after playing ball they turn to boxing. I've done them both. I did football from the time I was 9 until I graduated high school. So why do I love football more? It's more fun. You know, I never felt like I wasn't having fun when I play football. Boxing is hard, you know. And a lot of times it's hard to the point where you don't want to do it. So that's a great question. Will be in my documentary. To be determined when that's coming. Shawn can't hoop. Don't let him fool you. Carson Merk is not. He's exaggerating. I can hoop, but I'm not about to be out there crossing people over and shooting jumpers and making them all. You know what I mean? I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna facilitate, and if I get a couple feet away from the rim, I'll definitely throw one up. And see, I'll go 4 for 10 on a good day. I'll go 6 for 10. Yeah, on a bad day, I'll go 2 for 10. That's if I get 10 shots up. Let's see, let me get back to this. Street Life Entertainment, Street Life ENT. Enjoy what you're doing, my guy. I love doing it. I always knew I would. I never knew it was going to be like this, but this is where we're at, and I'm loving it. So I'm glad that I can do something that you all appreciate and that you all enjoy watching. So I'm glad to do it. Also Carson and Ant and also Shawn, they all love doing it too. So we'll be here for a little while. Young Revival, big up to SP. Who will you say gave you your toughest fight? Toughest fights are the ones y'all saw on TV, man. It was Keith Thurman, it was Errol Spence Jr., and it was Terrence Crawford. Those guys are the elite guys at welterweight. Of course, we got the young guys coming up, but of this decade, of this era, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, and Keith Thurman. They are the its of my generation, my era in the professional boxing game. Humble heart, are you going with Cruz or Gamboa? I respectfully am going with Cruz. I, it's youth, it's explosiveness, it's quickness, it's speed, it's work rate. I mean, everything that I'm sure you all know about Cruz and Gamboa. I just don't think Gamboa is going to be able to keep up. I think he'll get outpointed, and Cruz will move forward. This is 7060 Murta. Would you ever run it back with Crawford? A lot of people thought that I had it in the bag. Yeah, if I was coming back to fight, I would be looking for a rematch. I don't think I would be looking to fight any of the young dogs out there of the 147-pound division. I think the only fight right now, at least in my heart, the only fight for me worth coming back for a rematch would be the fight with Terrence Crawford. I'm talking about my personal sentiments on this, not what you all would want to see, or not that a fight with Spence wouldn't be exciting or anything like that. The last one, still a bitter taste in my mouth right there from that. You know what I mean? Not that I'm bitter at Terrence or anything like that. Just that fight didn't go the way I wanted it to, and it was the last one. You know what I mean? So I think that would be the one that I would go back for, come back for. Ernie V, Isaac Cruz, Gregory Harper, SP. Pardon my ignorance, but is there a union professional boxer for professional boxers? If not, have you ever considered creating one? I can see you and your pops being in the forefront of that. Great question, Greg. Not entirely ignorant to ask that question, because I was under the belief that there was not a union for boxing or for boxers. However, I was told, I'm not going to tell by whom, but I was told that there is a union for boxing and for boxers. Where is that union? Who's running the union? Is it real? I don't know. I think if there was a boxing union, you'd want the fighters to know, and you'd want people to know what's going on. Great question. Is that something I've considered? Stay tuned. And don't stay tuned today, but just stay tuned to my life, and we'll see what happens. June. What up, Showtime? If you were still fighting and could get a rematch with Spencer, Crawford, or Thurman, or Garcia, Ugas, who would it be and why? I already answered that. It would be Crawford. It was the last fight that I had. I think that's the one I'm more hungry for now at this point. If I was hungry, I'm not really that hungry. I just got some good food to eat. Got a question for Carson. He ain't even here. He said, I'm still bitter about it too, bro. Don't try. Danny asked who my father's training now. He's got Malik Montgomery, who is from Macon, Georgia. Shout out to my mama, and also to Ty. That's where they live. They actually live in Macon, Georgia. Small world. He's been training Montgomery since the pandemic. So since the winter of 2020, he's been training Montgomery, and also his brother now, Malik. Malik and Macau Montgomery. Those two, and my dad also has signed a Dominican fighter by the name of shoot, I'm losing his name. And I know Carson was gonna get all over me for that. Yeah, Hendry. How you say Hendry's last name? Cedino. And Hendry is from Dominican. I think Hendry's 4-0 now. I think Montgomery, I believe, is 12-0 now. I could be wrong about that. That's Malik, and then Macau is he's bringing up the rear. I think Macau is maybe 4-0 now. All those guys are doing well. Um, Hendry is unbelievably athletically gifted, and I think my dad is going to really help him with the fundamentals and his athleticism along with the fundamentals. He'll definitely be a force in some years to come. Malik won the NABF championship last year, and I believe Malik will be looking for a world championship title fight probably in the next year. My dad is doing the best he can to move him intelligently, the best way to get him exposure and get him into a position to fight for a title. Malik, I believe, is fighting now at 130. He won his NABF at 126. Macau fights at 126. And Hendry fights at 135, I believe. Right along in there, 130, 135. And Hendry's a big dude. I can see him moving up to 140 really soon. He's only a kid. He's only going to get bigger. Let's see what else we got. Dub CMO. The first time I saw you fight was against Devin Alexander. He was a former champ. So do you consider that your first win as do you consider that, your first win as an underdog? Yes. I think I was an underdog in practically every fight I've been in. I've been the underdog. Not exactly sure why, but it kind of is what it is. Doesn't bother me. Hey, is this dead or something? Let's turn it back on. I like seeing myself. Oh, I don't know what happened. Yeah, no, that was my first fight as an underdog. I would say that was 2013. That was 2013. I've been an underdog since 2013. Every fight that I've had on the top level, I've always been the underdog, and kind of is what it is. Will Rucker. Let me let y'all know that I don't really read these questions before I ask them, but I did glance at most of this one, and I really like this one. Will Rucker. Shawn, what's your reasoning for thinking that Stanionis will handle Butiev so easily? I think that Butiev is going to run into a brick wall. And this brick wall hits back. Stanionis isn't just strong and powerful. He's got a great jab, or I won't say a great jab. He's got a good jab. He's got good boxing. He's a good boxer fundamentally, and he knows what he's doing in the ring. I think that Stanionis is the quiet storm in 147 pounds in terms of the young guys that are going to be vowing for a championship in the next year or two. I think that Stanionis is the quiet storm out there. I think that his size, Stanionis' boxing ability, along with his power and his strength, is going to be too much for Butayev. We'll see what happens, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on that one. Holla at me after the fight. We'll see what happens with that one, though. What are your thoughts about a Thurman and Crawford fight? Taking the bias out of it, I would love to see Crawford and Thurman. There's so many great fights that could be had at 147. I think that once you get to talking about one specific fight, you kind of forget about the other ones, or you feel like the other ones aren't as good as the one fight that everybody talks about. Of course, that being Spence versus Crawford. So nobody really thinks about Thurman versus Crawford. I think that would be a great fight. I think that would be action-packed and it would be fun to watch. Oh, man. Don Bernard Jr. asks, who's your favorite female boxer? I don't really have a favorite female boxer. Right now, if I had to pick one, I would say it is I just lost her name. This is terrible. The Quote. It would be the Quote. Clarissa Shields. If I had to pick a favorite female fighter, it would be Clarissa Shields. When you got all the goods and you can do it all, you're intuitive in the ring. You got great fundamentals. You are strong and powerful. You big. Nobody wants to get in the ring with you. Those who do, they don't last very long, and if they do, they get lumped up. Uh, Clarissa Shields, I believe, is the best female boxer in the world. I love the fact she calls herself GOAT. I wouldn't argue her down about being the GOAT. King D'Angelo, Darian Angel says, I don't believe in Conor Benn yet. I'm beginning to believe. He definitely is entertaining, both in and out of the ring. I think that Eddie Hearn is moving him well. The matchmaking for Conor Benn has been great for him, and I think that he again one of those guys that you don't really talk about as far as being a world champion. I think that he will definitely be there relatively soon because of the way that they're moving him. I think that he'll be there. Not just because of the way they're moving him, but I do think that he's got skills and he's a good boxer. Which celebrity / athlete would you do an exhibition fight with if presented with the opportunity? Eesh. He gonna hate me, but this is the first one that came to mind. Royce the 5'9". Royce is anybody I'm sure y'all already know. He's a big boxing fan. We've been in touch for a minute now. Really good dude, and I had talked to him once before about boxing because he's such a big boxing fan. I said, yo, you need to train and do it yourself. I would definitely be down for doing an exhibition with Royce. That would be cool. I'll work on setting something up, some charity type thing, man. I ain't talking about no millions and millions of dollars to get in the ring with nobody no more. I'm ready to make money a different way. Fondor versus Gervonta, MZK Gaming. And then he put a whole bunch of laughing faces behind that because Gervonta is too much for Fondor. Pro Doc 18, Shawn, can you speak more about your app? Yes, I'm looking at launching the ABC app, Amateur Boxing Champions app, relatively soon. And this is because of a couple of reasons. Number one, I believe that you guys should have the opportunity to see what's coming next before it gets there. You didn't know Boots Ennis was coming until he started fighting on Showtime. You didn't know Virgil Ortiz was coming before he started fighting on the DAZN platform, and the list goes on. You guys don't have opportunities to see us before we become who we become to the professional boxing game. And I believe that you all should have an opportunity to see us well before we become champions or are in championship fights. I was a big underdog against Devin Alexander. I think had you all seen me as an amateur and seen some of the fights that I had as an amateur, y'all would not have been doubting me, or I would not have been the underdog that I was getting into the ring with Devin Alexander. And I've run into so many people that said, I didn't know who you are until you fought Devin Alexander. I'm trying to bridge the gap so that you guys know what's coming before it gets there. Beyond that, you talk about why the question is, why is boxing a dying sport? Why don't people follow boxing? Well, guess what? You're not connected to us. There's no way to connect to us until you see us on the world championship level as professional fighters. So I'm trying to create a way for the fight fans, for boxing fans, for sports fans to get connected to us well before we become the who's to the professional game. And I think that starts with you all being connected to us and watching the amateurs when they're 16, 17, 18 years old. Then you're connected to us and you're looking forward to what we do as professional fighters. I think that will help the longevity of boxing. And let me first say this. I don't believe that. Let me first say that I don't believe boxing is a dying sport. Number two, I don't believe that my app and my website is going to ensure that the sport lasts and lives on because of because of this app and this website. However, I do think that the more you guys could get connected to the fighters, the better boxing will be to mainstream and to the world of sports itself. With that being said, let me make sure I ain't got no more, what they call them, those chat things. Yeah,
Super chats.
Yeah, super chats. Yeah. Let me get this real quick. Sosa Smith, if you had power, you would have been a juggernaut.
You've never heard that
before. Eric C, who's your favorite sparring partner and why? Dennis, it will be. Let's see, you see me in the ring with Dennis more than anybody else.
I got you.
Yeah, but this is other guys I love. Brandon Adams.
Brandon Adams.
I think Brandon Adams. I will put no disrespect.
Brandon Lynch.
Brandon Lynch is my guy. So every time I go to LA, I try to reach out to both of those guys. But Brandon Adams. Brandon's just so fun. You know what I mean? And he's a crazy athlete too. Mm-hmm. He just happens to be in boxing. You know what I mean? So if you haven't seen Brandon Adams, check him out. He's my favorite.
Won the contender, I believe. Yeah.
Ended up running the contender. What was that? 2019?
Yep. No. This was 2018, I think.
2018.
Yeah.
And then right behind is Dennis Douglin. Dennis is like a kid brother, man. He's just a good dude and has always been there to whenever we called him. So shout out to Brandon Adams and also to Brandon Lynch. And Brandon Lynch and also to Dennis Douglin. With that being said, A-Side has just joined the Porterway podcast.
I'm wearing my colors on enemy turf.
Oh, you know where the camera is. Okay.
Yeah,
you ain't got no single today, do we?
No.
Do we got a single? Is this a single?
Okay.
You got a single.
There we go.
Ooh, you got a single.
I got a single.
Yeah, you stay over there. You make love to that one. I'm going to make love to this.
We're getting freaky with the wives out of town.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay, Shawn, back to what the people are here for.
Okay.
So talking to Errol, something interesting in regards to your fight with him. He says, I'm better than the Danny fight because of the accident.
I heard him say that.
Simple enough.
Yep.
So why are you better than the Shawn Porter fight? And he said, because I'm not losing 35 to 40 pounds in 2 months heading into it. It did look like, and this is before that, it did look like his physical strength in his legs, and it looked like I believe what he's saying.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts about that? And he feels like he's going to be stronger and better across the board tonight because he didn't lose 35 to 40 pounds in 2 months.
Shout out to Bebe down here. I think they call him Hollywood Bebe. But I've been in touch with Bebe, I believe, since 2019, since or right before Spence and I fought. And the reason why I bring that up is because he got into the accident, and I kid y'all not, like I woke up to a message telling about Spence, and I'm like, my heart's racing, and I was really worried for the dude. And I had sent a couple of messages that weren't responded to, and this wasn't he wasn't on the bed, and I'm sending a message. You know what I mean? I let some time pass before I reached out, and I hadn't heard back, and so I reached out to Bebe, and I reached out to Bebe, and I said, hey, have you gotten eyes on him? Has anybody seen him? Is he doing good? And Bebe and we talked for a minute. Bebe said he's gonna change his life. I said, yeah, a situation like this, he needs to change his life. And I'm sure everybody knows, you know, the what was going on, which led to the accident.
Having some fun in the nightlife and down here in
Texas.
Couple
months beyond that, once he moves to the ranch and everything, I get on the line again with Bebe. And Bebe said, I said, yo, tell me. I said, I know he's on the ranch. Do you think he's gonna stay there? He said, yeah, he's staying here. He ain't going nowhere. He's done with that life, and this is now the life he's gonna live. So all right, cool, that's good with me. He needed to change his life, and I think that changing his life has led to him not going 25, 30, 35, 40, however many pounds over his weight class. He's better because of the accident, and I think that there could have been a better version of Errol Spence that I could have gotten in the ring with. I do think that. But I think the Errol Spence that I had to deal with was a great Errol Spence. And I think that we both did something great that night back in 2019, and I'm glad that we were able to do it.
Yeah, and we talked about it on the show last Sunday, and how much because you're 35 now, right, Shawn? But
no,
34.
34?
You're 34.
Yeah.
And Errol's 31.
Yeah.
But, you know, your trainer and father, Kenny Porter, would always say, especially in these last couple years, as you got closer to your mid-30s, he said those last 10 pounds from 57 to 47, it would take something from you. When you were 31, was that still not the case? You were still – because he's been in one weight class since his 20s, just like you. Never moved up.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, as I got to the end of, or the early part of my 30s, 32, 33, my body had already adjusted to the 147-pound division. That I think at that point, when I was in my late 20s, I think it was just a matter of getting there. I don't think it necessarily got harder for me to get there, but I think at that point, I started to lose some things getting to 147 pounds. I think that I did it the best that I could, and it's for as long as I could. Y'all don't know this, but 2020, the pandemic happens, and I thought to myself, you know what? When the pandemic ends and I come back, how about I come back as a better version of me? And I thought that meant moving up to 154 pounds. Called my dad. Hey, what do you think about me moving up? He said, nah, that ain't for you. The best fight's for you at 147.
The money.
You got it, the money, so on and so forth. I said, fine. And I stayed down there. You know what I mean? So I think it was best that I stayed at 147, because if I had moved up to 154, I think that I would have changed everything. Like my mentality in terms of who I wanted to fight and what I wanted to do before retiring, I think it would have changed, and I'd still be boxing. So
I guess what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think staying at 147, I think was the best thing for me.
Okay.
Is that what you were getting at?
No, it's. Are you at some point, and is Errol there yet, where you're a 54-pounder making 47?
I was always a 54-pounder making 47. I mean, honestly, man, as quiet as it kept, I was a 54-pounder making 47 until my body adjusted and I became a 47-pound boxer.
Right.
But I lost some things along the way. You know what I mean? Everybody that knows me from the amateurs, I wasn't the guy that knocked guys down 3 times and the referee stepped in and waved it off. Me and Keith Thurman and Gary Russell, the 3 of us, of anybody else, Deontay Wilder, of course, but he came later on. All of us are around the same age. When we were 15, 16, 17, 18, and the list goes on, before we turned pro, we were leaning guys. Guys were not getting up off of the canvas. Guys, there were some serious situations with the ambulance when we got in the ring. But people didn't see us. The ABC, Amateur Boxing Champions, that app and that website is coming so that these stories become real life for y'all. But when I fought as the amateur,
videos.
Yeah. And when I fought as the amateur, and Keith and Gary, the 3 of us, we were the guys that were leaning guys. It's what you saw from Keith early on in his career. You saw from me early in my career. But when I adjusted and went to 47, I lost some things. You know what I mean? So that was another reason why I was like, called my dad, like, hey, let's fight at 54. You know what I mean?
Because I feel like younger Shawn was more tankier, and older Shawn was smarter.
Yep. People see me now and they say, man, you what you doing? I said, man, I got back what you guys didn't know I had. You know what I mean? I'm just slowly getting it back, and when I do go to the gym, I'm hitting the weights. I'm doing strength work. You know what I mean? I'm not over there trying to run miles and
Cut
lose
weight
weight or anything like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Man, so how long you been rocking, Shawn? I got some FightHype videos I still got to throw up.
I've been on. How long we been on? Hour and 30 minutes. We'll go for 30 more minutes, and then we'll call it a day for the day. Let me do this super one real quick. Great job, Shawn. Showtime SP 10 man. Appreciate you, man. How you doing, sir?
What's up, Martin?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good shout out to Martin doing the translations.
Translating, yes, sir.
Today for your Dennis Ugas.
Man, Ugas, like I said, he's not kidding with that Patria y Vida Salir. That's what he's fighting for big time. You heard him talk about it up there too.
Have you talked about it on FightHype yet?
Yeah, we talked about it with him, and he actually got.
I don't want to take Ben's. His stuff before you bring it to us. You know what I mean?
He's actually very expressive about it up there.
Yeah.
In talking about how he fights for them, and but actually, an interesting thing is, and we just talked to Steven Espinoza about making the Crawford fight happen with the winner.
Yeah.
And they sound all ready to go on all fronts, from Steven to Errol to Jordanis. So we'll see. We'll see.
I think now, I think that the boxing's gone through a wave. I'm not gonna talk about what I feel that wave is, but I think the wave that boxing is coming to now is where the best are willing to fight the best, no matter what the outcome is or could possibly be. And I think that's good for boxing.
So you think the over-marination era is finally coming to an end?
Great, yeah. I think that's what it was.
Well, it's hard to make a pitch against the over-marination era where Floyd and Manny made so much money doing that.
Yeah.
Had they have fought when we wanted them to fight in 2010, 2011, they'd have missed out on, because their checks were even bigger than they would have been because of the prospect of them facing each other down the line.
Mm-hmm.
So they're getting extra pay-per-view buys on all their fights before they fought each other.
We got another one? Yeah. Let's grab it.
Someone coming by, Shawn?
Tracy is trying to get Spence for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Let's get the big. I'm gonna kind of kick back and let you.
No. Go ahead.
I'll be here, but I'm still gonna. But I think people want to see you and Spence interact.
Well, I know what it's like at this point. It's like, So
what's it like right now?
At this point, it's like he just got off the stage. It's like, yo, okay, that's done. All I got is the weigh in. I'm gonna talk a little bit at the weigh in, but I'm pretty much, it's fight time now. You know what I mean? So
how hungry are you right now?
It's like he's just hungry at this point. You know what I mean? So any question that I'm gonna ask him, he's already been asked. It's like, all right, let me go through this again because Tracy asked me to, or because it's the Porterweight podcast and I don't mind doing it for them. But at this point, it's that repetitive cycle at this point.
I think it's always a great example you guys give to the kids that you went to war with each other, and he can come by and just talk to you whenever you want to do something with him.
I talked about that yesterday. A lot of people, they expect there to be a lot of animosity and they expect, a lot of anger and dislike for between between opponents.
Right.
On through the course of a fight promotion, but a lot of times there is no bad blood, The fact that
you guys grew up with each other as kids.
The
a lot
fact
of these
that
guys.
not Errol and I, Terrence and I did, but not Errol and I. But the fact that Terrence and Errol didn't grow up in the same era, the fact that there's been so much back and forth, and the fact that everybody's been arguing about who's better, so on and so forth, you're gonna get some animosity for that fight. You know what I mean?
That makes for a better fight, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think y'all think that it does.
Uh-huh.
But I think that it makes for a better promotion. But I think on fight night, everybody calms down, and goes back to who they are and who they need to be in order to get the job done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because there wasn't bad blood between you two, and that certainly didn't stop you guys from going toe-to-toe.
Yeah.
And
let me answer these real quick.
But you're right. That is what us fans think. We think, they don't like each other. That makes for an even better fight.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks. Yep. Tip Bayless said, your opinion, what's the move for Keith Thurman? He's got to get back in the ring ASAP. I don't know who he gets in the ring with. I don't think it's a crazy notion to want him to fight Terrence Crawford. It's not a crazy notion to want him to fight the winner of this fight. I don't think he's earned that for the sake of words, but I think that, if the fight doesn't happen between Terrence and Errol because of whatever reason, I think that it's great to at least entertain the conversation of Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence Jr., Keith Thurman versus your Dennis Ugas. I mean, the winner and or loser of this fight I think it would be good for them to get in the ring with Keith. I think Keith right now, the reason why I'm saying is because Keith wants the biggest things out there. He wants the most money that he can make, and he's not looking at a rematch with Josecito Lopez or anybody on quote unquote that level. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to fight one of the young guys out there, Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz. That's not what he's looking for. I know what Keith is looking for. He's looking for the best out there.
He wants the winner of this fight.
Do I think that he's ready for the best out there? I think that he can get ready. I think that his last fight didn't show that he is ready, but I think that he can get ready.
It was a very solid first step.
Yeah, solid first step.
And it wasn't just the same old Keith Thurman with less of what he used to have. It was a new old Keith Thurman.
Yeah.
His style, he's fighting a little different than he is now. But
so
you know what interests me about Thurman if he does get any of those fights is Keith. He usually likes to try to test you early.
Yeah.
Like Roy did.
Yeah.
You know, in the first 3 or 4 rounds, he tries to hurt you with something.
Yeah.
And I think he would do that with Crawford.
Yep. You think he would try to test Crawford?
Attempt it.
But him changing, well, not changing, but growing, getting older. You know what I mean? Changing. I don't think that he's necessarily changed his style, but I think his tactical approach, especially mentally, is way different than it was when he was younger. I think he was definitely, no matter who was across from him, he was testing them early in the fight. With me, I don't think I gave him a chance to test me. I think there was no test. There was just go. You know what I mean? There's no test button when it was
but with Danny, he did that.
With Danny, he did that. I don't know if he would test Terrence. I don't know if he would test Errol. I could see him testing Dennis. I don't know.
You're like, I don't know if he takes those chances early.
Because I didn't see that against Barrios. The test wasn't retro.
No, you're right.
It wasn't retro, Keith. That test wasn't retro. Keith would literally walk across the ring and throw a punch and try to punch you in the mouth. Back in the day, see how you respond, and then based on your response, he either kept going or he slowed down and figured out how to make it work. You know what I mean? So, and then let's talk about Keith moving up to 54. You know what I mean? If Keith, if you don't want, you can't get the biggest names. You haven't exactly quote unquote earned the biggest names, based on what have you done for me lately. Then and you're not gonna fight any of the young guys. Move up to 154. You're kind of starting over, but at least people will view anything you're getting in the ring with a challenge because you've moved up a weight class. You know what I mean?
So even if it's Charlo, but who knows if Charlo's going to stick around after Castaño?
Yeah.
Because that's mission accomplished at that point, unless he thinks he can make some big money against one of these welterweights moving up.
Yeah.
But his gym mate is Errol Spence.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
I think that Charlo versus Keith Thurman would be a great fight. That's a great style matchup too.
Is Keith at 5'7" too small?
No.
5'7", 5'8". Charlo's 6 feet tall.
Yeah, but Keith knows how to use his size. He knows how to use his attributes. You know what I mean? It's just, I would not be too small to get in the ring with Fondora.
Right. You wouldn't?
But I knew how to do what I did. You see the messages I sent to the WhatsApp the other day?
Which one?
I sent messages in a picture of the guy that I fought in Venezuela. He was 6'5", 5'7", 5'7". You know what I mean? and I stopped him in 3 rounds.
What were you doing? Just going to the body or
No,
in and out?
I'm
knocking
his head. You know what I mean? It was the in and out, so my recipe, I learned how to use. First of all, I got longer arms than people expect, and so I knew how to use my reach. You look at me and say you're 5'7", you ain't got no reach, and I'd argue you down that put me in the ring with that tall guy and that long guy, and I'll take his reach away from him,
and I'll jab
therefore putting him in my reach.
Right.
And there you have it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's a little piece to the pie. You know what I mean? But that's how I did it, and it can be done. You know. So you're looking at Keith against a 6-foot Charlo. I don't think Keith is too small for Charlo because he knows how to use what he has.
I mean, we saw Brian Castaño's 5'8", 5'7", and
yeah. The movement was a challenge for for Charlo, and
And he was
I think
faster
the
than I
punch
thought.
output and the speed was fast was more than what Charlo expected. I think. I commend Derek James on that fight. I think Derek James got Charlo to the draw
Right.
in that fight. You know what I mean? I think if it wasn't Derek James in there, kind of doing the best he could to get through to Charlo, if it was anybody else giving different information, I don't think Charlo would have got a draw that night.
I asked Derek James, is everything good on the Charlo front?
Oh,
Just
right.
because, people start looking and working with Joan Guzman,
Right.
and he said everything's fine. He's our assistant.
Yeah.
That's what an assistant does.
Yeah.
Is when you're busy, he. But yeah, it was just an interesting question because Spence a couple weeks ago actually mentioned a Charlo fight, and that's something he always shot down immediately. So just interesting stuff unfolding there. But
Right. Yeah, because they same corner and all that kind of all.
But
those
it makes
kinds of
sense from a fight standpoint because if the Crawford fight can't happen, what's the next best fight is moving up to 54 and fighting Jermell Charlo.
That is the next best fight. Then
But we
he's
want
got
Crawford.
then he's got and then he's got Castano, who I believe he's lost to twice as an amateur, right?
Yeah.
So, again, that just back to the ABC Amateur Boxing Champions app and websites coming soon. You get an opportunity to see a fight like Spence versus Castano
in the amateurs.
and then you understand why a fight like that makes sense now, even though Spence would just be moving to 154. A fight like that still makes sense because of the history there.
Right.
So the Amateur Boxing Champions is giving you a chance, not just to a chance to see the history and not just hearing about it word of mouth.
You're going to see some of the great fights you may never get to see in the pros.
That's
Aaron
true.
Pryor and Sugar Ray Leonard never fought in the pros, but
true.
they fought at the Pan American Games.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. If Castano and Spence never, Gary Antoine Russell and Boots Ennis may never actually fight in the
Yeah,
pros. Maybe
yeah,
they will.
yeah.
But if you follow the amateurs, you'd have seen them fight 3 times.
Yep.
So hopefully the ABC and what your vision is, Shawn, it can give some of the shine that college sports gets in the major sports.
Exactly.
That's the whole point.
Exactly.
Is we want to build, or you want to build, the Zion Williamson of the amateurs, the
There you go.
LeBron James of the amateurs.
There you go.
You got to see this kid at 15, 16, 17, not once he's 21 and already.
You got to
but
see
yeah,
him now.
Yeah.
You got to see him now and get connected to this fighter now and who this fighter is, because I have a lot of people that root for me because they got a chance to see my relationship with my dad, and they admire the relationship that I have with my dad. That you or is that me?
No, that was me. My
Okay.
bad. Go ahead.
A lot of fans or a lot of people that appreciate the story between my dad and I, they found out about that story when Showtime did or when Fox did the feature on us when we fought Danny Garcia. You know what I mean? Or the feature that Mark Kriegel did
in
on
2014,
ESPN.
2015.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the most recent one that he just
Oh,
did.
another,
you know what I mean?
another one. Right,
yeah.
right.
So, you have an opportunity to see potentially Danny Garcia with his dad when they're 15, 16 years old. You know what I mean? So I want to be able to.
Or Devin Haney against Ryan Garcia 6
Yeah.
times.
Yep. Those guys were younger. I don't want to go that young, but let's say hypothetically, we hearing some hype about a young 15-year-old that we gotta show now. That if that opportunity is there, the best part about it is I don't have a day job. You got a day job?
No. Thank God.
You working on the ABC with me,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. We're gonna do that.
So we'll do that. We'll make
me
it
and my
happen.
man, True School Sports out there.
There you
too.
go. Yeah, we'll make it happen.
But,
Shout out to Brandon too.
Yep.
Yep.
So, man,
Sosa said he said Keith Salty saying it was supposed to be him had his. I think he's saying Keith Salty that he ain't fighting.
he was supposed to be Pacquiao and fighting Spence in a huge unification at this point.
Sosa said chance, but got belts and strung Spence along. Eric C. Which moment made you realize boxing was for you?
Is it when he said, "I want you to rain on him like a thunderstorm"?
Yeah, pretty much.
And
I don't know. I don't know. I think boxing again. It was something that I just always did. I think I didn't. So it's like a two part answer to that. So I realized that football wasn't for me. I realized that I wasn't gonna go to college to play football, and I was like, well, if I'm not gonna go to college to play football, I'm just turn pro and box and make money. And my dad was like, you're good enough to be on the Olympic team. Go for the Olympics first. And so we did that whole thing. As a professional fighter, I didn't realize that becoming a world champion and all of those things were going to be in my future until people started saying to me, you're going to be a champion someday. You're going to be a champion someday. And I was like, okay, cool, thank you.
How
Like,
old were you then? About 13, 14 years old?
No, when I turned pro. I was
right.
20. When people started saying, I was about 23 or 24.
Okay.
Yeah, I turned pro when I was 21, before I was turned 22. And then about 23 or 24. 24 was when people legitimately started saying, you're going to be the next, you're going to be a champion. Keep going, keep going. And once people started saying that, I was like, okay, I'm going to be a champion. And I think when Freddie Roach said it to me right after the camp that I had with Manny Pacquiao, the first camp that I had, he said, you'll be a champion someday. I know you are. I was like, yeah, thanks, Freddie. Everybody says that. Thank you. And when he said it, it kind of was like, okay, I have to do it. And that's when I really bought into becoming a world champion. So,
Remember
around,
what camp Pacquiao was in?
That was
or what
20,
year?
I think that was 20. I think that was 2012.
He was getting ready for Marquez.
Nope. That was when he was getting
Bradley?
ready for. No, he was getting ready for Cotto.
Oh,
That
this is
20
2009.
09?
Man, you sparred him at his
Sheesh.
absolute freaking peak.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Was there some rough days?
Just a
Not
couple
really.
rough days.
Yeah.
Mostly good days.
Yeah.
Mostly good days. Yeah. My camps, man, like I always say, in my camps, you basically saw me build. Like
Yeah.
You saw me like shitty. Okay, you're doing good. Shitty. All right, you get all right. So all right.
Peak.
All right. Yeah, you saw me peak. Like
It was
every
incredible
camp.
to see.
I never
I don't
saw
see other fighters quite do it like you did.
I never saw. I don't know why it was like that for
They're
me.
more closer to what you see in the gym is what you get on fight night. You were this,
I-
like
yeah.
10 times the guy.
I don't know
yeah.
why I was like that. I never saw Manny have like bad days in camp.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I did. I had bad days, and they got better and got better and got better. You know, so I caught Manny. I'll never forget the first time I trained with Manny. We went the whole camp, and I was like, okay. I mean, he's good. I don't know why he's special. And I don't know what it was. We flew from Philippines to LA, and between like in that day or so of me thinking like, all right, yeah, this is the end of camp, and it wasn't that bad, and he doesn't seem to be as strong or as good as people say. I mean, he's good, but he's not that. Man, the first sparring session we had in LA, he punched me in my mouth, and I'll never forget when I got hit. I didn't let him know that I felt it, but I bounced back in my motion, and I kept going. I said, "Oh, he is good." I was like, "Whoa!" Like there was this switch that he turned on.
Fighters look shocked when they get hit by him. Like,
Yeah, well,
what was that?
That's how it was for me, and it was like he hit a switch when we got to LA, and it was like, "Oh, that's Manny Pacquiao." I was sparring with Manny Pacquiao, and that's Pac-Man. Pac-Man has arrived. You know what I mean? So I had some great experiences.
Was that
with
special
Manny.
to have that in front of you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on Shane?
And you wound up
Jr.
kind of fighting like him a little bit. Funny
versus
enough.
EB matchup. I would like to see him get in the ring with no, wait, that's not Chris. Who's EB?
Who?
EB.
Shane Jr. versus
EB matchup. I was thinking.
Why can't
I was thinking Chris Eubank. But who is that?
Derek Doby, help us out here.
Derek Doby. Who is EB?
Edgar Berlanga.
Oh, Berlanga.
Edgar Berlanga.
Oh,
that is a good fight.
That a good fight?
Based on what Shane looked like last time and how much trouble Steve Rolls gave Berlanga.
Yeah.
Shane Mosley Jr. shows up looking like he did last fight. It's a good fight.
Shane was consistent the other night.
Right.
And that's been kind of his quote-unquote downfall for a little while from what I can see. His last loss, Quigley, but before that, his loss was to Brandon Adams.
Right.
And when he fought Brandon, I could see that he just really wasn't clicking that night. And that, unfortunately, it goes like that for some guys sometimes. But then you fast forward, and he has his fight with Quigley, and you can see he just was inconsistent with the things that he was doing good, doing well. The fight he had with just recently with Rosado, much more consistent. I'd like to see that improve even, but much more consistency in the things that he was doing well. Of course, every fighter wants to build. So if we want to say, he's going to be a better fighter against Berlanga than he was even against Rosado, I think that's a good fight.
It is a good
That's
fight.
a good fight.
It's a good fight, and it makes sense in both guys' careers right now.
Yeah.
Because if Shane
right.
pulls that off, he's Shane Mosley Jr.
Yeah.
He's in the mix. And for Berlanga, it's a good opponent and a guy that they feel isn't, too dangerous, but is right on the right level they want to match him with on paper.
Yeah.
We'd have to see what happens.
Yeah. Is that Lito? Lito Rawls.
Lito Rawls.
He said, what went through your head while having an opponent in front of you during the fight?
Smiling as big as you
example,
possibly can, apparently.
Keeping eyes on their hands, etc. No. I've had fighters, I don't even know. I'm so focused. Or was. I always have to speak in the past tense. I was so focused that a lot of times I didn't even know if I was looking them in the eyes or in the chest or whatever. And then there were moments where I would notice that I am looking a fighter in his eyes. But I would say for the most part, what's going through my mind during a fight, I think it's the thoughts are so fast, and I think it's hard to really describe how fast that they happen, but they're very fast thoughts. The punching isn't so much a thought. Sometimes it is, but it's just read and react. It's just back and forth, read and react. Every now and then, I think it was Keith, or not Keith. I think it was Errol. Errol hit me with he hit me with a left hand, and we're doing our thing, and then he hit me with a left hand again, back to back. And I remember thinking, the thought was, I'm not gonna get hit with that again. He hit me with another left hand. It was like 3 times, back to back to back. They weren't boom, 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 but they were he hit me once. I was like, all right, I ate it. Then he hit me again. I was like, damn it, I can't get hit with that again. Then he hit me with it again. I was like, what's the adjustment? Sometimes the thoughts are slow, standstill thoughts like that. But for the most part, it's just read and react. To me, that's the separation between good and great. The greats, they know how to just work and read it and react to it and keep it going and make the adjustments and all those types of things. The guys who get stuck in moments, the guys who can't keep up intellectually, those are the guys they get exposed,
right.
And they get left behind. Yep. That's a great question.
It's almost like all your thinking and all of that stuff,
Thanks,
it had to be
Lito.
done in the gym. By the time you get to the fight, it has to just be in your stimulus. You just gotta,
Yeah. It has to. Most of it is done at the gym, and I think that for a great reason is so that you don't have to
think
or guess
Right.
or wonder by the time you get in the ring. And I think that was one thing that helped me against other guys that I fought. It's really hard to prepare for me, so it was easy for me to be prepared for those guys. A lot of guys aren't very versatile. They're not gonna do a whole bunch of different things, and so it was what I got prepared for was what I needed to get prepared for, and I always was the one to come to the ring with the questions to present to my opponents.
Back to the stare down stuff though.
Jug said Porter versus Fundora at 154.
He's retired. You retired, goddammit. And if you're coming back, it's not for no Sebastian Fundora.
I told him yesterday. I said my guys wouldn't let me come out of retirement.
No, but hey, good luck us stopping you if that was ever the case. But back to the stare down stuff. I remember when you stared down with Errol in L.A. You gave him this huge smile.
Oh man!
And I know you probably didn't mean nothing by it, but I almost looked into it as that's not you intimidating him, but that's you. I'm right where I want to be. I'm happy.
I was
Wouldn't
right
want to
where I
be
wanted.
anywhere else. Can't wait to fight you tomorrow.
Man,
and that,
listen.
in some ways, can not shake you up, but can get your attention as much as a scowl or I'm here to. It's like, man, this dude
Yeah.
is not worried about nothing. He can't wait to get in the ring.
Yeah. I think it was after I fought Danny Garcia that Errol got in the ring.
Yep.
And Jim Gray was conducting that interview, and I looked at Jim and I said, you know, do I look worried? And my thing was, I said it like when you get a belt, then we'll fight. And then
You had the baby marination. It wasn't too much.
and
It was
then-
fine.
And then when he got the belt, it was
Little
like, okay, it's just only a matter of time before the fight happens. And then when I said that to Jim in the ring, I said, do I look worried? Carson got a good laugh out of that, and they thought that I should market that as kind of this is how I feel about this fight. You fast forward, and we're staring each other down, and the smile was just to simply let him know, I'm not worried. I know what I can do, and I know what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? So, you know, all of us, we show our comfort levels differently.
Right.
You could see how comfortable Spence was today. I love to see him up there cracking jokes and just
He said
enjoying
he'll fillet his ass.
and enjoying
Did you
this
hear that one?
process. Yeah, I heard him. Yeah, just enjoying this process. You know what I mean? It's harder for Ugas to enjoy the experience because of the language barrier. You know, but he looks tight. He looks ready, very focused. But the Ugas that I know, he looked like the Ugas I know. He didn't look any different. You know.
If anything, he looks more confident than he ever has before. You know,
You think so?
Little more swag. I beat Manny Pacquiao. I'm the
think so?
WBA champion. I got, yeah. He shows up a little bit more.
Every fighter's
you know,
different. Yeah, every fighter's different. I would have experiences. I would beat guys, and then while other people were talking about the guys that I beat, and you know, da 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 da. And once we're standing in front of each other this week of the fight, that means absolutely nothing to me. You know what I mean? So, just saying, it's like if it was me versus Manny, and I beat Manny, then I got to fight Errol. Week of the fight, I don't give a damn that I beat Manny. I got Errol. You know what I mean? So the confidence of me having beat Manny there wouldn't be anything in my body that would even care about that. It would be all about Errol. You know.
Well, I think
So
it
it's-
has given him a little extra.
There you go.
In comparison to when he fought.
Okay. Spence is not coming. If you stay,
He wants to eat.
The 517 people that are here now, I don't know if that's the real number, but what am I looking at? What's that?
517 people are watching.
They're watching right now.
Yeah. As
What
you
up,
speak.
y'all? I do that with my son.
Yeah. Man, I think it's because I stayed along. Shawn.
Thanks for hanging. It probably is.
I'm sorry.
We're at 2 hours.
Sorry to the fans.
And Spence is no longer going to bless the podcast. So we're gonna get out of here. You're around tomorrow?
Yes.
Let's
I'll
hit it
be
tomorrow.
coming on after the weigh-in. Got some stuff to shoot and then put up. As long as you don't mind me
Not at all.
throwing it up as we do it, let's do it.
We are going to a barbershop tomorrow.
Really?
We'll be at the barbershop going live at 4 p.m. Central Time.
Okay.
We'll be at the barbershop.
So that's after the weigh-in.
That's after the weigh-in.
Okay.
Yeah. I've set it up for after the weigh-in. Let me shout out the barbershop real quick. We will be at he didn't send me the name of the barbershop. Well, Hollywood Bebe hooked this up. We'll be at the barbershop on Beltline Road.
1019 East Beltline Road.
Yep. 1019 East Beltline Road in DeSoto, Texas is where we'll be going live 4 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. Before that, of course, we'll be right here at the weigh-in, live at the weigh-in. Just trying to enjoy this and give as much as we can to the Porterweight Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Great job, Shawn.
The reason why I brought up the barbershop, of course, I like you to attend, but we might have to do something to that up there.
No.
We might have to do something to that up there.
No, I'm like Samson. I know you know Samson.
What would I love it? What would Leonardo say if you walked in the house with a cut?
He'd be
head?
heartbroken.
He'd be
We
heartbroken.
got matching haircuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody says that about him.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
say,
We
"Oh, he got the same
hair.
hair."
Yeah, no, I can't do it, Shawn.
Yeah.
I can't. I used to have a taper fade too.
I told Diggy, I said, "Don't cut your hair, man. I'm gonna be heartbroken." And so now when his mom says, "Do you want to cut your hair?" He says, "No." Daddy will be upset because he knows, like, I'll be heartbroken. Anyway, God bless y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow.